Ladies and mostly gentlemen, today we're going to talk about allied races and more specifically something that people have found in the game files of the Shadowlands Alpha.
Okay.
But before we get into all of that, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, and that is my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MrGM if you want to check me out streaming the Shadowlands Alpha, twitch.tv.
Hey, wait a minute! He's not following me! Look at the sidebar. He's following Esfon, Soda, Z's, McConnell, Panda. I know he changed his name. Panda Orion, Method, Talius, and Evitel, Sko. Where's me? You were offline? Oh yeah, there was that 4-month thing. Yeah, I forgot about that.
/MrGM. Right, let's just get straight into this. So,
let's take a look.
First of all, special thanks to wow.tools and the team over there doing an absolutely amazing job getting all this Shadowlands Alpha data and just general game data.
Yeah.
So if you do want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below this video. So to give some context here, WoW basically runs off these files called DB2 files. They're essentially like databases. And there's one for like pretty much everything. So there's one for races, there's one for items, there's one for creatures, there's one for everything, right? And this one specifically that we're looking at right now is Allied Race. And this was obviously added in Battle for Azeroth. It has a list of allied races, as you can see. Like, it has race ID 35, which is Volpira. You have race ID 32, which is Voltiran, etc.
Okay,
so here's a list of allied races. And it has, like, the unlock achievement and the display IDs and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Now, when we move to the latest build, we filter it to 9.0.1. The eagle-eyed viewer can notice that this table has 4 new entries.
Those are in... Okay.
It's these. It's 111, 12, and 13, and 14, and they have pretty low race IDs. Now, these are linked to another file called Char Races, which does have a list of playable and non-playable races, so things like Tuskar will be in there, but also Mechanomes and stuff like that. So, these IDs here are actually quite old. So, number 15 is Skeleton. Now, Skeleton is essentially, I think it's an undead model. It does support gear. Kind of basically, you can put a helm on it and shoulders and stuff and use the same rigging as an undead. Then you've got 16, which is Vikel, 17, which is Tuskar, and 18, which is Forest Troll. Now, 16, 17, 18 all support gear pretty much, apart from a few there. But for the most part, these models do kind of support gear, and they've been much requested for a very, very long time. So
yes, they have.
I could leave the video there and be like, yo, guys, Tuskar confirmed for Shadowlands. But we're going to dig a little deeper into this because it gets really crazy, so please bear with me. So the data here obviously says Crest ID, and it's just like random allied race Dark Iron Dwarf it uses, and Zandalari and whatever. They're all kind of placeholder stuff at the moment, and model background ID as well is just kind of random as heck. So the column we are going to focus on is creature display ID. Essentially, these are just the appearances
and they don't
of
have
these races. So for example, this one right here will be the appearance of a Volpira, which will link to their model ID. Now, these ones here are pretty high numbers, and you would assume, right, so you know, 93894 is just going to be a skeleton, or, you know, 93970 is going to be a Tuskar, but that's not the case, and this is where it gets kind of mad. So the male display ID for the skeleton race is 93894, and this is a Kyrian male model. The female model for this race is a female Kyrian model. We move down for the entries for Vikel. 93936 is actually a Necrolord display ID, a male Necrolord. The female is listed as 93946, and this actually isn't a female Necrolord, it's this abomination.
There's no way.
Yeah, that's a little weird. The Tuskar is unfortunately not a Tuskar. 93970 is a Night Fae male. And the female is not actually a Night Fae female, it is actually a like little fairy thing, so yeah. And the final one, Forest Trolls 93619, is actually a Venthyr male. And 93774, the female model, is actually a Venthyr female.
If we recruited the Covenant races?
Nuts. Now, this is not saying these races are confirmed as allied races, because as of right now, these races do not support gear. All of their gear is essentially baked into the model. Now, that's not to say they can become races eventually. We had a similar situation with the Nightborn and Legion, where they started off kind of similar to how these races started off, and eventually they did the work, and they made them playable races. But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. My theory and a couple other people's theories is basically that they're reusing this table for some other use, potentially, or you know, as I said, this could very well be the kind of breadcrumb start of them adding the 4 brand new races of Shadowlands as allied races. Now it's worth noting as well, on the race list, as I said, the one that stores all the playable and non-playable races does not have entries for these races as of right now. The highest one is Mechanome, which is obviously the race that was added in 8.3, so we're still ways off. Now, as I said, doesn't say they're coming tomorrow. They're definitely not coming tomorrow. Potentially it is
maybe
a sign
they're going to release them throughout the expansion.
And Ian literally said, everything you find in the data, take with a pinch of salt. And I'm going to take a pinch of salt with this one.
Okay.
And say, it's not happening right now. Maybe it'll happen eventually.
All right, you heard him, boys. It's happening right now.
That's pretty much it. That's me kind of breaking down this kind of allied race stuff that's been going around the internet right now. So, yeah, do let me know. Would you like to see these races eventually become allied races? I think it'd be really cool. But I think we'll have maybe some issues with allegiances. Maybe they'll be neutral. I don't even know. That's a whole nother video for another time. But before I go, I'd like to give a massive shout out to our amazing patrons, YouTube channel members, and Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to support the channel in any of those ways, links are down below. So leave a like on this video, guys, if you liked it, and subscribe.
This is actually crazy.
On the Discord channel. We're over 3,000 members. And as I said, I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me streaming the Shadowlands Alpha, I'll be streaming over on twitch.tv/MrGM. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.
The chances of us getting this dude right here to use as a character, I would have said before we had Mechanomes, is very, very low. But the fact that Mechanomes, you can only transmog half of the items that are equipped to them, in the same way that this character can only equip half of the items that would it would look like they have on, I think that it's actually a possibility they could do this. I'm not saying they're doing this. I'm not saying that they will do this. But I think that the fact that Mechanomes have so many of their gear slots locked down, like you can't transmog their gloves or their boots, for example, I think that does lend some credence to the idea that even though certain pieces wouldn't be transmoggable, that was not a reason for Blizzard not to allow them to be a race. You see what I'm saying? How would that work in China? I don't know. How does the Lich King work in China? Like, I don't think that Blizzard, they would just change the race. Like, that's what they would do. They would literally just probably make it something different or just not release it in China. There's 100 different ways they could handle it. I'm not even... I don't think that's even a concern, okay? All right, next one. Tuskar. Now, if they have Tuskar, I wish he had spent more time showing what these guys look like, because he just clicked right through them like it was super fast. So, having these guys right here, the Vicryl. I don't know, man. Like, Vicryl, it seems like it would have made sense for them to come out in Legion or something like that. But now, like, I don't really see why they would put Vicryl in the game. You see what I'm saying? Look at MrGM's tweet. Well, what is this? Oh, he says checking out the video. Okay, yeah, sure. Thanks for watching the stream. Evidently, thank you very much, MrGM. This is really cool. I mean, if they add this guy right here, who looks like, you know, it looks like he's really pissed off. Like, I would like to have a Vicryl in game. He kind of actually looks like I would look if I shaved my head. With, like, just his face, his mouth is open, he's looking kind of mad, he has a receding hairline. It's actually pretty accurate. I mean, obviously minus the beefy part, but, you know, besides that, yeah, less fat Kultiran. And the other one that we have here, the other two that we have here, I mean, are the Tuskar. Now, I think people have wanted to see Tuskar in the game for, like, I don't know, 10 years. So, if they make Tuskar a playable race, I think a lot of people would be really happy with that, right? I guess they would probably look a lot kind of like a little bit in between a dwarf and a panda in terms of like their stature, I guess. And I would love to see Tuskar put into the game, but I think that they need to make sure that as they implement allied races, they need to make sure that they actually have a purpose in the game. And I think that's the main thing that I want to focus on, is making sure that they actually have a purpose in the game, rather than them just thinking, okay, how can we print $25 again from all the fucking super fans that want to play the new race? And that's the last thing that they want to do. The next thing, the next one. Forest Scrolls. This sounds kind of weird, but I'm actually kind of excited for this. Like, that's cool. Like, this is the one, I think the reason why I'm excited for it is it's out of left field. It's not like, oh, yeah, of course they're going to do Forest Trolls, because people have been expecting that for a long time. But this is actually something completely new, And it's fucking awesome. I'm really glad to see them doing this. You see new method, Josh? Not right now. Let's see. Naga makes sense now. Naga does make sense. I mean, at this point, I feel like because they have mechanomes in the game, it indicates that making sure that every single piece of gear being able to equip properly onto a model is not a variable that they use to rule out the possibility of making something an allied race. The only problem is, like, then how do you have a Naga on a mount, right? How the fuck does that work? How do you have a Naga, like, do a million other things? How the fuck does that work? I don't know. So I think they're going to have to figure out a better way to handle it. But if these are the new allied races, that would be cool. And even if they went back and instead of doing this, they did Kyrian or something like that, I could see them doing something where if you become, like, really, really high, like, you finish everything in the Covenant, and there's, like, some kind of, like, a capstone quest line in 9.2 or something like that. The same as they did with the class order hall mounts in 8.2 or whatever, or 7.2 or whatever the fuck it was. Then, at the same time, you would be able to recruit that allied race to be able to play them. That would be awesome. Like, I think that'd be cool. Like, recruit the main people of the Covenant that you're closely attached to. And that would also give people a reason to go on their other characters and level up the other Covenants, assuming that they keep that system. Yeah, you have Smurfs, basically. Smurfs, skeletons, fat boys, and fairies. So, yeah, I mean, shit, dude, Shadowlands is looking great. And I actually really like these guys, too. I think that if they put these in a game, that'll look really nice. Because they're kind of like night elves in a way, but they're little bit fancier.